Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Masashi. Today, I'm going to tell you about one of the oldest cities in the world, Kyoto. First, I'll give you an idea about how popular Kyoto is. Then I tell you about one of its current problems, namely over-tourism. And finally, I'll introduce my suggestion to solve this problem. Okay, I'd like to start by talking about the popularity of Kyoto. To start, please take a look at this line graph. It shows the number of overseas visitors to Kyoto. Just 10 years ago, the number was only 930,000. And look at the year 2011. The number dropped by almost half. This is because of Tohoku earthquake. In the period after the earthquake, the number shows dramatic improvement. In 2013, washoku, traditional Japanese cuisine, was added to the World Heritage List for food. The following year, Kyoto was chosen as the world's best city for the first time by Travel and Leisure, one of the most influential travel magazines in the world. In 2015, Kyoto was chosen as #1 again. Since then, the number have exploded. About 3.5 million people from overseas stayed in Kyoto in 2017. And the number continues to rise. Surprisingly, in fact, the number of guests increased by 7 times since 2011. So, why has Kyoto become so popular? There are many reasons to answer this question. First, Kyoto is much safer than Europe at the moment. Tourists who come here don't have to worry about crime. Indeed, Kyoto is one of the safest international cities on the planet. Second, the cost is very reasonable. The weak yen makes Japan a cheaper holiday destination. This has also contributed to a sharp increase in tourists. Moreover, direct international flights from Europe to Japan have been increasing. And finally, the Japanese government has relaxed visa restrictions for visitors from Asia, particularly China. So, the increasing number of tourists in Kyoto is actually good for the economy. However, too many tourists can bring problems to the popular destinations. Which brings me to the notion of over-tourism. Do you know the word over-tourism? Can you explain what it means? Actually, the word over-tourism is quite new, so it hasn't formally been entered into the popular dictionaries like Oxford or Collins. You can't find the meaning of it. So, I want to make sure you understand the meaning completely. When a place starts to become popular or fashionable to visit, some problems occur. Crowded buses and noise pollution, to name just two. Of course, it goes without saying that having too many people in the same place also contributes to the problem of garbage. So, in other words, a rapid increase in the number of tourists in Kyoto is having a serious impact on local people's daily lives. This is over-tourism. Right now, the local population is becoming extremely frustrated about this. I'm sure you've witnessed some of these problems yourself, but let me outline a few of them in more detail for you. First, the most serious problem is public transport. You will have seen many tourists waiting for the bus in long lines. This creates much longer waiting time in the bus terminal in Kyoto Station. And tourists often ride the bus with their suitcases. It blocks local people, so they can't find seats. It's really uncomfortable and inconvenient. Perhaps inconsiderate too. But this is part of modern daily life in Kyoto these days. Actually, I've seen this situation many times, but I couldn't work out why they always use buses, not the subway. So I searched in internet, and I found a clear answer to my question. In Kyoto, there's a one-day travel pass for the bus. Tourists can take the bus as many times as they want and visit the key sightseeing spots cheaply. Indirectly, in an attempt to make Kyoto a more attractive place to visit, this travel card is creating problems by making public transport systems, especially buses, overcrowded. My next point is noise pollution. Over the past few years, hotels and ryokans in Kyoto have not had enough room for tourists. So, foreign tourists have had to find alternative accommodation, preferably at low cost. This has led to the minpaku problem in Kyoto. If you haven't already heard about it, this is a new service for tourists to stay in private houses or apartments. They can stay with people living there, or they use an empty place for personal use. Many of these minpaku are located in residential area. So, as they have become more popular, local people have started to suffer from noise pollution. Tourists arriving midnight make noise with their suitcases. Some tourists became very noisy because they are drunk. Finally, I'd like to highlight the problem of garbage. This has also become a serious problem. Actually, the Kyoto city had found a way to solve it. 10 years ago, in the Kamo River, there were a lot of trash cans along the banks. We could eat lunch and throw it in the trash can. We could also do fireworks and throw them into the trash can. So, with good manners, the riverside was always kept clean. But some tourists have started to use trash cans for their private use. So, 6 years ago, the Kyoto government decided to remove all trash cans from Kamo River area. Thanks to this, the Kamo River had been kept clean again. However, the more the number of tourists has grown, the amount of garbage has increased. Of course, you can also see this problem clearly in Nishiki Market. Nishiki Market is now one of the most popular spots for tourists in Kyoto. Tourists can easily experience traditional Kyoto food while walking. As a result, they throw their garbage on the street. In Gion, trash cans become full immediately, so staff have to replace garbage bags many times a day. Now, you know what over-tourism is. However, Kyoto City is trying to fix the problem. The first method is known as dispersion. To avoid overcrowding, it is important to disperse crowds by times, areas, and seasons. For example, last summer, Nijo Castle opened its doors at 8 a.m., 1 hour earlier than usual. The castle was trying to get people to arrive earlier to avoid a rush at other peak visiting hours. This is time dispersion. Similarly, Kyoto is trying area dispersion. Even though Kyoto has 17 World Heritage Sites, some shrines and temples are not so well known. For example, Shimogamo Shrine is surrounded by a huge forest called Tadasu no Mori. Because of forest blocks the sound from the street, the mood of the shrine is mysterious and impressive. With advertising, the city government is trying to pull tourists away from most popular sites to lesser known sites. This is area dispersion. Finally, season dispersion. As you're aware, Kyoto becomes particularly crowded during cherry blossom season, and also in the autumn for changing leaves. Again, through heavy advertising campaigns overseas, the city has been trying to get tourists to visit in early summer. to enjoy fresh green maple leaves. These three dispersion methods are currently being used to tackle the problem of over-tourism. Moreover, from last October, Kyoto started to charge a new tax called accommodation tax. Visitors who stay overnight in lodging facilities in Kyoto City must pay minimum of 200 yen per person per night. The revenue from this will be used for the improvement in tourism in Kyoto. Finally, I'll suggest what we should do for Kyoto. In terms of over-tourism, things could get a lot worse before they get better. Personally, I feel the Kyoto city government could do more to teach tourists how to behave. What I mean is manners. Japan is going through a tourist boom. As a result, we have the opportunity more than at any time before. If we embrace this opportunity, I believe that we can make Kyoto a better place for residents and visitors alike. Thank you for listening.